Welcome to Networking Arizona with host Carol Blonder. You'll hear interviews with businesses located throughout the valley. Networking, it makes a difference.
If I traded it all.
So welcome to the show, everyone. It's starting to feel a little bit more like it's not summer sometimes, especially in the morning. Welcome to the show. And as you all know, I made it possible for everybody to talk about your all selves. If you want to get yourself heard on my show, give me a call. Our number here at the station is 602-277-5369. And we'll get you connected with me, and I'll show you how you can get the word out about what you do on Networking Arizona. I'm going to go on with my first guest. Now, yes, he has been on many times. We've talked about this a lot, and yes, he's live right now. This isn't a replay or anything, because yeah, you're coming on a lot right now, and there is a reason for it, and I want everybody to know that. Some people will call me and say, well, he's been on. Well, yeah, that's right, but it works, number one. Number two, he wants to help people out there, and there's a lot of people that listen to the show regularly. There's a lot of people that listen to the show that just are tuning in, so that's why we do this. My first guest is Ted Watkins. He is an enrolled agent. He's been doing this since 1978. Welcome to the show, Ted, and tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay, well, it's great to be back, Carol. And our Arizona Cardinals got their act together again last night.
Yay.
Yay. Whip the Jets. But anyway, like Carol said, my name's Ted Watkins. I'm an enrolled agent before IRS. And if you haven't heard of an enrolled agent, you're probably not alone, because there's only about 48,000 or so of us in the United States. But we're actually licensed by the federal government, and we were kind of talking before the show. I'm not an employee of the IRS, so I represent you, the taxpayer. So we have to follow all the rules, but I'm on your side, and I'll do the best job I can to prepare your taxes correctly, get you all the legal deductions you can. And if you're unfortunate enough to have some tax issues, which unfortunately since the great meltdown a lot of people out there have.
Since the beginning of time, please don't tell me it's just since then.
Yeah, well,
everybody does that.
That's true. Since the tax came along, everyone has had tax issues. But particularly since the meltdown, a lot of people unfortunately have had problems. And I can help negotiate a settlement with the IRS or the Department of Revenue. Or since I'm licensed by the federal government, I can represent you in all 50 states. So I do a lot of work with, I used to have an office in California, so I do a lot of work with the California Franchise Tax Board. So the reason I keep coming on is, besides that it works, I like helping people. So, and I've helped quite a few thousands of people since I've been on. I've been on almost 7 years here now. So I've helped a lot of people negotiate and get the IRS off their backs.
Okay, and here's what I love to say about Ted. First of all, he has a very sharp pencil. That's very important to have when you're dealing with your taxes, especially if you owe taxes. Also, what I love about him is that he loves to give giveaways to everyone and educate you. He wants to help you. If you haven't done your taxes in 2015, you said the longest one was how far back?
1982.
Wow, and you helped him on top of that, which is insanity. But okay, so here's what he likes to do. He first of all wants to enter everyone to get, if you haven't done your taxes for 2015, he's going to give you a business or personal tax return. You're also going to get one if you have done them and you want to get entered in to win for 2016. He also has a fabulous, it's a tax organizer. We're going to talk a little bit about it. It's everybody should have one just for that, okay? He's also told me that the most biggest question that he gets asked is about what records to keep. So he's going to give you his record retention guide. That's 4 pages long, as well as a free consultation, as well as a free Walmart card or a Starbucks card. So we're going to open up the lines to the audience right away. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Call in, get entered in to win. If you're somebody who's been listening to you, said somebody 4 years has been listening to you and just called you the other day.
That's right. A gentleman had been listening to me for 4 years and just called me about 2 weeks ago.
Why wait? Why wait when you can have it peace of mind and get something, lifted off of you that's been worrying you for a long time?
That's right. But my business has, or practice has, basically two different parts. So if you file all your tax returns up to date, I can take a look at your last 3 tax returns, your 2013, 14, and 15, and make sure you've taken all your deductions. And I do that free of charge, no cost to you. If your returns look fine, I'll tell you that. If it looks like you've missed some deductions that you're entitled to take, then we can suggest that you file an amended tax return. And then also I help a lot of people, like I said earlier, that have tax issues. So we can find out how many tax returns you need to file if you owe taxes to IRS or let's say the Department of Revenue, and then I can negotiate either a monthly payment agreement or there's a program called Currently Not Collectible Status, which means you don't have to make a monthly payment to IRS. Or most of you have probably heard these commercials on the TV or the radio where they talk about pennies on the dollar, and what that involves is the offer and compromise program. Now that doesn't they would lead you to believe that works in all cases. Unfortunately it doesn't, but if you meet the criteria, it's a good program, and we can usually offer them somewhere between 15 and 25% of what you owe, and if they accept your offer, they'll just write off the difference.
Well, and how much do you charge for that? Like, it's $175 just to check, right?
That's right. So that's it. So all that is a power of attorney fee. So I filed the power of attorney with the IRS, and we can find out how many tax returns you need to file, and if you owe taxes, then we can get what they call a transcript for each tax year. But if you listen to the people on TV and the radio, I've heard as much as $18,000 retainer up front. All I charge is $175. If you decide to hire me, I hope you do. But if you don't, your only obligation is the $175, and I'll give you a copy of the transcript so you'll know where you're at. And I have a philosophy that you have to know what your problem is before you can solve it, and that's what the power of attorney does. It tells you how many tax returns you need to file, how much you owe the government, and where we should proceed from there.
Now, just because he's an enrolled agent doesn't mean that he charges any more, and that's another thing that's great about him. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah, most of my fees I think you'll find are quite reasonable. In most cases, they'll be at or below H&R Block or Jackson Hewitt or Liberty Tax, which are the 3 major franchises, and in most cases they'll be below a CPA as well. And also enrolled agents, we're trained in tax. Like I said, you haven't really, a lot of you may not have heard of us, but we actually specialize in tax, whereas CPAs, a lot of them do a lot more accounting than tax work. All we do is basically tax returns and helping people that have tax issues.
Now, he has 2 Valley locations. One is in North Scottsdale. The other one is in North Phoenix. His website is tedwatkinsea.com. You can call him direct. He does free consultations. His phone number is 602-363-1952 or 480-707-7670. He can help anyone in the entire United States. United States. U.S. of A is what I was going to say. Right. Just didn't come out right. So everyone that's listening in all of the states, you can call in and he can help you. And again, he's entering everyone to win either a 2015, if you haven't done your taxes, or 2016 business or personal tax return. That's a $400 value free to you right there. You're going to get its tax organizer, which we're going to talk about. That's fabulous. That's a 15-page tax organizer, but you don't have to get intimidated by it at all. We'll talk about that. You're also going to get the record retention guide. That's 4 pages to know what to keep and what not to keep. It's a free consultation. What else are we going to give away here? A free Walmart or Starbucks card. You're getting that too. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Before we go, you want to tell them about the tax organizer.
Okay, I have a great tax organizer. If you go to my website, which is tedwatkinsea.com, on the homepage there's a little icon that says Tax Center. If you click on that, it'll take you to, it says Free Tax Organizer, and it's 15 pages, but like Carol said, you don't need to be intimidated. It's a one-size-fits-all, so it covers you if you own rental properties, if you own your own small business, if you've had stock sales, etc. So you just need to go through that, And the great thing about it is it goes through almost every legal tax deduction you're entitled to. So if you just spend maybe 10 or 15 minutes on it, you'll find a lot of things you probably didn't think you were entitled to deduct.
We've got our lines open here. We're going to go to a break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk further. Give us a call here. Get entered in to win all of this. If it's not you and you know someone in this situation, call in for them and get entered in to win. Again, our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. We all know that our files are packed. Get organized now. Get ready now. Give us a call. Get 602-277-5369. Hang tight. We'll be back in just a minute.
Traded it all.
We're talking with Ted Watkins, and he is an enrolled agent. Yes, he's been on a lot. Yes, there's a lot of people that procrastinate and don't call, and you should. There's people that, even if you have done your taxes and you'd like to have somebody, there's nothing like having an enrolled agent behind you doing your taxes. So we've got everybody entered in to win. It's a 2015 or 16 business or personal tax return. That's a $400 value, at least free to you. It just depends on your situation. Also, he goes back for free 3 years for you at no charge. He's got his tax organizer that is phenomenal. Everybody should have it just to have, as well as the record retention guide, which he told me that everyone asked that same question. What is it? That's 4 pages long. What should you keep? What shouldn't you keep? What you need? What you don't need? Also, you're going to get a free consultation with him, as well as a Walmart card or a Starbucks card. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. I'm going to let you call throughout the rest of the show for all of these good things. So keep on calling, 602-277-5369. Tell us a war story. I love those war stories.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, I was pretty busy doing extension returns last week, so I only have one little short story.
That's okay. I like them.
There was a gentleman that called me actually this morning while I was at the Home Depot store. And for some reason, he thought that tomorrow, Wednesday the 19th, was the extension filing deadline. I says, wrong.
Whoops.
Whoops. You missed the deadline there, bud. But anyway, all of you, I'm sure, are aware of April 15th is the filing deadline for tax returns for individuals. But when you file an extension, the IRS gives you, and the Arizona Department of Revenue gives you a 6-month extension out to October 15th. So this year, because October 15th fell on a Saturday, they extended it to yesterday, Monday the 17th. But that's the drop dead date. I mean, I was in the office till about 11 o'clock last night, e-filing returns for people. So, but after the 17th, you're late.
So what happens when you're late?
Well, it's not that big a deal if you have a refund coming, because you actually have 3 years to file from April 15th. So for the 2015 tax year, you still have until April 15th of 2019 to file your return and get a refund. Now, if you owe money, that's a different problem. It's a different situation, because if you missed the deadline yesterday, you have a late filing penalty as well as a late payment penalty. But if it's a refund, like I said, it's not everybody thinks that they're going to jail if they don't file by the extension due date, and they have a refund. And all it means is the government's keeping your money and they're not paying you any interest on it. So it's to your benefit to file your return and get your refund.
Right. And you know what? Even if you haven't, Ted can help you. That's what he's here for. And he's helped thousands of people. He's been the longest running guest, 7 years. And he has helped many, many people out there. Again, our number here is 602-277-5369. Toll free, it's 1-866-536-1100. He has 2 Valley locations. He has one in North Scottsdale. The other one is in North Phoenix. His website, if you want to check him out, it's tedwatkinsea.com. You can also call him direct. He does free consultations at 602-363-1952 or 480-707-7670. He can help anyone in the United States of America. So any state that you're living in, you can call in toll free and get all of this, and he can help you. And Ted, some of the things that they need to know, I have to say, there are things that like people don't know that they can get through. Let's say that people that have home-based businesses, people who are in doing multi-level marketing businesses don't know what they need to do, and they can get audited as well.
That's right. So if you have a home-based business, or if such as multi-level marketing or just a regular type business, you're entitled to keep an office in your home, but you have to have a segregated, like a bedroom or den or something like that. You don't want to have your Xboxes and TVs and all that good stuff in it. So you want to have it set up with a desk and a computer, printer, etc. So what the IRS allows you to do is they allow you to take a percentage of your rent, mortgage interest, real estate taxes, but they also allow you to take a percentage of a lot of other expenses you wouldn't ordinarily be able to deduct, like homeowners association fees, landscaping, repairs and maintenance, gardening, etc., etc. So but you only get a percentage of those expenses. So say if you have a bedroom that's 150 square feet and you have a 1,500 square foot home, you're only going to be able to take 10%. But it's 10% you wouldn't ordinarily be able to deduct anyway. So it's like a gravy. Mm-hmm. And actually, the IRS has a safe harbor provision now where they give you up to $1,500 and you don't really have to keep track of your expenses. But if you have a larger home, it'd be to your benefit. They'll say if you got a 5 or 6 or 10,000 square foot home, it'd be to your benefit to keep track of those expenses because you're going to probably get more than the $1,500 they allow under the safe harbor. Right. So it's a good thing, but the only problem is it's one of the most highly audited deductions, and if the IRS audits you for that, they're going to come take a look at your office and the home. So that's the downside.
Well, there's a lot of things that people don't realize. Why should they not do it themselves?
Well, for one thing, you're probably not, even if you go through TurboTax, all it does is ask you a series of questions. But there's a lot of things that TurboTax misses, like, for example, medical mileage. You're entitled to deduct that, and TurboTax typically doesn't ask that. Also, miles for charitable contributions. So if you don't know the tax code, TurboTax may not prompt you to deduct.
What about people that call the IRS themselves?
Not a good idea.
No, it's not.
Not a good idea.
Number one,
you're too emotionally involved in your case. So, and if you start calling them 4-letter words, it's going to get you nowhere fast.
Right. And also, you talk too much and get yourself in trouble.
You talk to people, get nervous, they talk too much. And like Carol said, I've been doing this since 1978. So to me, it's just a part of my business, just another case. So I'm not going to get emotionally involved. And of course, I wouldn't have a license still if I were calling them 4-letter words. So that's I would definitely not advise that. And my fees, like I said, are quite reasonable. And it's dealing with the IRS is quite time consuming too. I mean, it takes a lot of times. Even we have a back line, but I have to sit on hold from anywhere from 45 minutes to as long as 3 hours. So it's very time consuming to work with these people.
Well, get on the head of it right now. If you haven't done your taxes, give him a call. He does do free consultations. You can call him direct at 602-363-1952 or 480-707-7670. Our lines are open here, and everyone's getting entered into win a business or personal tax return for 2015. If you haven't done it, 2016, that's a $400 value free to you right there. The tax organizer, we want everyone to have that. The record retention guide, that's important to have. That's 4 pages long. You're going to get a free consultation as well as a Walmart card or a Starbucks card. Our number here is 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100, and you can call throughout the rest of the show for it, as well as anyone in the United States who can help too. What else should we talk about today?
Okay, well, one thing I've gotten a lot of questions about in the last several weeks is crowdfunding. And for those of you that aren't familiar with crowdfunding, it's where a large number of investors make a small contribution, and you can get crowdfunding for anything basically, but a lot of it's devoted to funding small businesses. But the IRS has just come out with a ruling back at the end of March, I think it was, on if you get money from crowdfunding, does that constitute taxable income? And unfortunately, in most cases, it does. So, but there are some exceptions, like there's exceptions to everything in the Internal Revenue Code. So I can help you. I've been working with a lot of small business startups in the last couple months, helping them to figure out what's taxable and if we can structure it to where it's not taxable. So that's one big item, and there's a bunch of sites, Kickstarter, there's a whole, they're just every week there's new crowdfunding sites. So it's actually a good way to get your business funded too.
It is a good way, but you have to realize that you can't forget about that you've got that money.
Yeah, you can't. In the past, since crowdfunding started, people just didn't really consider it to be income. They just considered it to be an investment in their business. But in a lot of cases, it's not. So you have to be real careful, and you have to, like I said, I'm working with a lot of small business startups on that right now.
Well, we've got our lines open here. We're going to let everyone call throughout the rest of the show. Everyone's getting entered in to win. It's that business or personal tax return for 2015 if you haven't done them, or 2016 if you've been listening to this show for a long time and you've been procrastinating. Stop. Don't procrastinate any longer. Give us a call here at 602-277-5369. You're also going to get the a free consultation, the tax organizer from us, the record retention guide, the Walmart card, the Starbucks card. Again, 602-277-5369, and toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Don't forget, everybody that's listening across the country and all around the world, really, but anyone across the country can call in and also get all of this at 602-277-5369, or toll free it's 1-866-536-1100. Give us a call here. Check him out at tedwatkinsea.com, and you can also give him a call. He will do free consultations for you. It's 602-363-1952. Stop procrastinating. Don't put your head in the sand, and get your taxes done by Ted Watkins, enrolled agent.